Important pointers relating to Edmund Spenser. Under which pseudonym the work The Shepherd's Calendar was published. Emerito. What is Spenserian stanza? Each stanza contains 9 lines in total, 8 lines in iambic pentameter followed by a single Alexandrine line in iambic hexameter, which royal dynasty Edmund Spenser celebrates in his epic poem The Faerie Queene. Tudor. In which work of Edmund Spenser the ape and the fox serve to satirize the customs of the court? Prosopopoeia, or Mother Hubbard's Tale, which is an unfinished work of Edmund Spenser. The Faerie Queene. To whom did Edmund Spenser dedicate his work The Shepherd's Calendar? Dedicated to Sir Philip Sidney. Why is Edmund Spenser important? Famous as the author of the unfinished epic poem The Faerie Queene, he is the poet of an ordered yet passionate Elizabethan world. Edmund Spenser was a man of his times, and his work reflects the religious and humanistic ideals as well as the intense but critical patriotism of Elizabethan England. Edmund Spenser addresses his sonnet sequence Amoretti to Elizabeth Boyle. Edmund Spenser dedicated the work The Faerie Queene to Elizabeth. A View of the Present State of Ireland is the title of the prose pamphlet Edmund Spenser wrote in the year 1596. What did Edmund Spenser write about? Edmund Spenser, born 1553, London, England, died January 13, 1599, London, English poet whose long allegorical poem The Faerie Queene is one of the greatest in the English language. It was written in what came to be called the Spenserian stanza. How many sonnets did Edmund Spenser write? 89 sonnets. Amoretti, a sonnet sequence. The Amoretti, meaning little love poems, is a sequence of 89 sonnets written in the tradition of the Petrarchan sonnets, a popular form for poets of the Renaissance period. Why Edmund Spenser is called the poet's poet? He is also called that because so many other poets thought that he was a great poet. Edmund Spenser was, and is, called the poet's poet because of the very high quality of his poetry and because he enjoyed the pure artistry of his craft so much. Who called Edmund Spenser poet's poet? Charles Lamb. Edmund Spenser was first called the poet's poet by the English essayist Charles Lamb. When did Edmund Spenser write Sonnet 75? Amoretti was published in 1595 and it included 89 sonnets and a series of short poems called Anacreontics and Epithalamion. Who wrote The Faerie Queene? Edmund Spenser. In which epic did Spenser characterize Queen Elizabeth? A letter written by Spenser to Sir Walter Raleigh in 1590 contains a preface for The Faerie Queene, in which Spenser describes the allegorical presentation of virtues through Arthurian knights in the mythical fairyland. When was The Faerie Queene written? 1590. The Faerie Queene is an English epic poem by Edmund Spenser that was first published in 1590. Who is called the true child of Renaissance? Edmund Spenser, the true child of Renaissance. Why is The Faerie Queene an allegory? The poem thus has a serious purpose behind its fanciful characters, settings and events. All the characters in The Faerie Queene have allegorical significance since they represent abstract ideas. The title character, the Faerie Queene, Gloriana, herself, is meant to represent Queen Elizabeth. What is the spiritual allegory in The Faerie Queene? The Faerie Queene is a historical, political and moral and spiritual allegory. Underlying the fairy tale of the first book, there is a deep underlying moral and spiritual allegory. For example, the Red Cross Knight stands for holiness or piety or true religion. Una stands for truth. What does Archimago represent in The Faerie Queene? Archimago is a sorcerer in The Faerie Queene by Edmund Spenser. In the narrative, he is continually engaged in deceitful magics, as when he makes a false Una to tempt the Red Cross Knight into lust, and when this fails, conjures another image, of a squire, to deceive the knight into believing that Una was false to him. How many books are in The Faerie Queene? 6 books. Spenser's masterpiece, The Faerie Queene, 1590-96, is an epic of Protestant nationalism in which, in its present form, The Faerie Queene consists of 6 books and a fragment, known as the Mutability. What does Duessa mean? Duessa in Spenser's Faerie Queene, the daughter of deceit and shame, standing for falsity in general, but in particular alluding to the Roman Catholic Church and Mary, Queen of Scots. She is contrasted with Una, who stands for single-minded adherence to true religion. Duessa. What is the Shepherd's Calendar about? The Shepherd's Calendar is Edmund Spenser's first major work, which appeared in 1579. It emulates Virgil's Eclogues of the 1st century BCE and the Eclogues of Mantuan by Baptista Mantuanus, a late medieval, early Renaissance poet. Thank you. Content by Walden Educare, India.